Recording now?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Well, good morning, Mr. Walsh.
Morning.
Today we're going to have a pre-observation meeting regarding your evaluation. And I know that you understand how the evaluation process works, but I would like to, for my video here, I would like to go through our process. So this morning we're meeting. We're going to go over your objectives and the different things that you and I have discussed. And I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding your lesson that I'm going to observe today. And then I'll come in and we've got it set for second period. And then I will observe second period. We're also going to be taping like I had talked to you before. And then today, after the lesson is over, we'll meet at 3:30 and go over post evaluation.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay? So first thing is, I just wanted to ask you a few questions. What are your objectives for your lesson today?
Okay, today's objectives right here, I have them down. I want the students will understand how a typical Northerner's viewpoints concerning slavery at this time is, and what are their viewpoints concerning the spread of slavery during this time period. We're right on the pre-Civil War era, and I think kids need to understand, what are the viewpoints out there about the spread of slavery itself amongst Northerners.
Okay.
The second objective, this will be kind of culminating this letter writing, the first one that we're doing. The second objective, I want students will understand some of the expectations for their think-tac-toe for our Civil War unit. We'll be going into the Civil War and they're going to be doing a think-tac-toe, and I want to get that out there to them so they can start looking at it, and we'll be talking, probably will not get completely through with all the expectations, but I'll be showing them some of the things that have been projects in the past and some of the things that, what is a good example, etc. And hopefully, we probably won't go into detail on the rubrics, but they'll know there are rubrics that we'll be using, etc.
So you've got some examples for them. For your first one, you've got some, you guys are going to write some Civil War letters, and then after that you're doing this think-tac-toe, which we'll explain here in a second.
Yes.
But you've got examples to show them what good actually means.
On the think-tac-toe, yes.
And then also examples of what is not acceptable.
Well, I didn't keep any that was not, but
Okay.
I'm going to in the future. I
Okay.
sort of didn't want to do that negative part, but
That's
I'm
okay.
going to keep a few back if they'll allow me, and
Yep.
go with it, because that's the first time I tried that was last year, and I thought, it would be a good idea to have some examples of what doesn't cut it.
Okay.
First, I'll show you
Okay.
this is our persuasive letter writing project.
Typical Northerner, you have become concerned about the possibility of new legislation and spread of slavery, possibility even north of the Missouri Compromise line. Want your congressman to understand where you stand on slavery and slavery issues. Your task is to write a letter to your congressman expressing your views. Okay, you may want to include your thoughts on the following: institution of slavery itself, the South's reliance on slavery, the abolitionist movement, and popular sovereignty. Look over how to format a letter to your congressman. Samples will be provided. Thank your congressman for their time to read your letter and ask them to consider your thoughts when voting on future legislation. And then, so extra, that's
If they want to do a little,
if they want to do a little extra.
little extra on it, yeah.
Okay, and what does extra, what does that mean for
Well,
them? I mean,
I think what I
Just
said
makes
is they just wanted to make it a little more authentic as far
Okay.
as some of the kids who got on the computer and looked up the 34th, maybe the 35th Congress to see who some of the actual congressmen were.
okay,
And some were taking the ones from Iowa, some were going to be like a different state, and they're, just seeing who actually was in Congress at the time. It was one of the little extras they could do. Some of them wanted
Okay.
to make it look like paper that time period. They talk about using their tea to kind of make it look like that yellowish paper.
Okay.
I said, that kind of stuff's fine, but it's not. It would, some noticed how we'd done that before on some letters, and they thought that was kind of neat. And I said, yeah, sure, you can do that.
good. Okay, then discussion topics, be thinking about the following and be prepared to discuss. Why is it important that we contact and let our representatives in government know how we stand on various issues? And then what are some issues that you might consider contacting your congressman about? Good, I like how you've tied that into
To more current event and into their lives too, I think. You'll make it relevant to them.
exactly. Okay, bonus point idea, write a persuasive letter to your congressman about an issue that concerns you. Better yet, be a person in history and write a letter to your congressman as if you were living then. Okay.
And that's just, like I said, something they can do for earning bonus points, and if they want to give it a try, they enjoyed this, and they can work in partners on some of them bonus point things too, and they kind of like doing that.
Okay. And then you have down there some think-tac-toe.
This is a think-tac-toe right here that they all receive.
Okay, so this think-tac-toe, then they get to choose, or there's a certain one that they've got it, the whole class has to do.
They make a tic-tac-toe out of any of them.
Uh-huh.
That way I've set it up. I am going to put, and I will add to this, because some kids asked me last year when they did this, if they come up with some of theirs, and come up with a couple pretty neat ideas, I'll share with them. And if they have something they want to do on their own, you know, I'm open-minded to something like
Okay.
that, so they can replace one of those with any of those. Another thing I'd like to try to get some of them, possibly a PowerPoint, or, you know, these kids, what they do with computers, you know, they might have some ideas that they, you know, want to
Okay.
bring technology into the picture, and I'm very open to that too.
Outstanding. So is that something that you've changed your philosophy over time to let them?
Yeah, and it's their world.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, with this, I wanted to ask, how do you assess the students when they're doing this,
Okay,
these projects?
Okay, rubrics will be provided. What I'm going to do, I didn't.
Is this your rubric
Yes,
that you use?
I give you sample copies of all the rubrics that I
Okay.
use. For instance, I think that one right there is the interview rubric. Then we got a map rubric.
Okay.
We got a rubric for a comparison chart.
Yep.
Editorial rubric. Letter
Okay.
rubric, which will be similar to what we'll use on this one.
For this one
and
here?
There's a couple more yet. Diorama.
Diorama, and timeline rubric.
Timeline rubric. So,
Okay.
yeah, we
And
developed
then-
these.
And then with your, when you are doing the rubric, then you provide feedback on the rubric to the students
Yeah.
so that they know if there's something that
Yep,
they
and then they can rework it if they want to. They can get,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
as long as there's time, they'll
Okay.
be able to turn it in. You know, if they say, hey, what can I do to make it better? I'm all for it.
All right, that sounds good. And one last question is, before we go to the observation today, what do you do to engage all of the students? I mean, how do you get
Okay.
it so that even those ones that aren't so much auditory folks, how do you get them involved in this lesson?
Okay, we'll, first of all, they're going to be asked on the letters to share their letter with a neighbor or a friend. So I'll try to get them involved that way, back and forth, and kind of critique each other's, see if they have had these things in there. Then I will ask for anybody that thinks their person they read was exceptional, I will then ask them if they would like to read their letter. I'll probably try to get at least a couple volunteers. While they're doing this, I will be rotating around myself, kind of looking over shoulders a little bit. And that one other thing I'll mention for our special needs students, we do have them more in one class with an aide. And what I've done there is kind of tiered it in that those three will be working together to write one letter with the aide.
Okay.
And hopefully that will get them a little more involved and active in this. They feel a lot more confident, you know, three of them together on it. So,
Okay. Well, I think that, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with me about what I'm going to see today?
Well, as I got here, we're going to start out with these letters. Then we'll just simply go through and talk about some of the sample projects. Just looking over here. Well, I really don't think I had anything
Okay.
other that I know of.
Do you have any associates that are in the room? Second
This
period?
second period, no. The associates in the room, the very last period,
Okay.
7th period.
All right.
That's where we have these kids.
Well, thank you very much. I am looking forward to
Okay,
today.
good
and
enough.
We'll see you second period. Okay, thanks.
You bet.